Bonjour French 102 students. Welcome to the second presentation for Chapitre 4. We're moving on from talking about a culture topic, which was La Louisiane in the first presentation, and now we're going to be talking about some vocabulary, and specifically ma famille. You may want to pronounce that. Ma famille, so my family. And since we see a couple of short paragraphs here in French, I thought it would be good to point out before we go to pronounce each of the family names here, the people in the family. It would be good to point out some words that will help us understand these two paragraphs. I think this is a good way to approach reading in French, is to look for words that might be similar, that might have some similar meanings, similar spellings, and by highlighting and bolding and pointing out those words, we might just get the gist of the whole paragraph. Okay, so in the first paragraph, I've highlighted the word l'intention, and that probably looks a whole lot like intention to you. And the other word that looked familiar to me as an English speaker is passer, which might be to pass or to spend time doing something. Vacances, of course, that looks just like vacation. And then finally, famille. So if you look at these four words together, intention, pass or spend, vacation, and family. We can probably guess that Robert, the subject of this paragraph, that he has the intention of spending some vacation time with his family. And let's see if we're right about that. Robert et ses amis, so Robert and his friends, ont l'intention de passer une semaine de vacances chez le père de Robert à Lafayette. So Robert and his friends have the intention. Remember the verb avoir? Hopefully you remember that from your past French experiences. So j'ai, tu as, il, elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont. Okay, this is the form that we're looking at right here. So we're looking at the verb avoir, which is one of the most important verbs that you'll need for your French studies, as it's used in many, many different ways. So Robert and his friends have the intention of spending une semaine, a week of vacation, chez le père de Robert. So chez, you might remember, it's a preposition just like into, for, of, like we have in English, but it means at the place of or at the home of. Chez le père de Robert à Lafayette. So I assume they mean in Louisiana. Okay, Robert parle de sa famille. Okay, so he's speaking about his family, talking about his family. Remember the verb parler, another very important one that you might have learned in French 101 or in your high school French classes. So parler, of course, means to speak or to talk, and that's what Robert or Robert is doing about his family. Okay, other words that might look familiar: famille, parents, divorcé, enfant. Okay, so family, and we know he's talking about his parents. His parents are divorced. And then enfant looks a lot like infant in English, but you might remember it means children. Okay, so we know we're talking about his family, we're talking about his parents, maybe they're divorced, and we're talking about children in the family. So let's try to piece it all together. Voici ma famille. Voici means here is, just like voilà means there is. So here's my family. Mes parents sont divorcés maintenant. Oh, my parents are divorced. You might also remember the verb être in French. Être and avoir are two really important verbs. You need them for lots of other tenses that you will learn later on in this course. So être, je suis, tu es, il, elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont. Mes parents sont divorcés. Okay. Ils ont, they have, 4 enfants. They have 4 children. 3 garçons et une fille. 3 boys and 1 girl. So you can see here all the names of the family members. I'll move myself out of the way for this. So we have mes grands-parents. So, mon grand-père, my grandfather, ma grand-mère, my grandmother. Mon grand-père, il est décédé maintenant. Oh, he is deceased. He passed away. Okay? And then we move down to mes parents, mon père, ma mère, my father and my mother. Mon oncle, ma tante, oh, my uncle and my aunt. And notice that we have mon, meaning my, coming before a masculine noun or person in this case. Ma is the feminine form that comes before a feminine word or a female person in this case. Okay, and then we move down to the children. So Robert is the person telling this story about his family. Moi, so he's referring to himself. And we see another form of the word my in French, mes frères. Mes is, of course, the plural form of my. So, mes frères, my brothers. Ma sœur. Son mari. Son means her in this case. Mari is husband. So, my sister and her husband. Mon cousin. Ma cousine. Oh, my cousin, male and female versions, and le fils et la fille de ma sœur. Oh, the son and the daughter of my sister. Mon neveu, my nephew, et ma nièce, my niece. Okay, so lots of new vocabulary there to talk about family members. Okay, we'll move on to the next part of talking about family. Okay, and here Robert is talking about a specific member of his family in a little bit more detail. So, mon père s'appelle Luc. Oh, my father, and you might remember appeler or s'appeler, meaning to be called. Oh, mon père s'appelle Luc. My father is named Luc. Il a environ 50 ans. So he is about 50 years old. Environ means about or approximately. Il est encore jeune. Okay, so he is encore, you might recognize from English. We say this at the end of a performance or a concert when we want something to go on or when we want someone to perform something more. So it means still, to do something still. So he's still young, mais il a l'air plus âgé. You could probably guess some meaning from these bolded words. He seems older than that. You know, he's about 50, but he seems to be older than that. He just looks that way. Il a l'air plus âgé. A l'air de quelque chose means to seem to be older than he is. Il est de taille moyenne. Okay, so he is like medium size, average size. Moyenne would mean about average. Il a les cheveux courts et gris. So he has short and gray hair. Il a les yeux marrons. He has brown eyes. Il a une barbe grise. Oh, he has a gray beard. Et une moustache. So this word is very recognizable to us in English. We use the same word. Il porte des lunettes. So he uses glasses or he wears glasses. Porter in this case means to wear or to use. Okay. Et vous? Comment êtes-vous? So now the question goes to you. You know, what are you like? What is your appearance like? How would you describe yourself? If I were to describe myself using some of the words from the selections that we have here, first I could describe my eyes. J'ai les yeux. And don't forget about the liaison between les and yeux. Les yeux. So, j'ai les yeux bleus. So I have blue eyes. J'ai les yeux bleus. You could say j'ai les yeux noirs. I have black eyes. J'ai les yeux marrons. And notice with marron and also with noisette, which would be kind of like hazel eyes, I guess, would be the best description. Neither one of these adjectives agrees with yeux. Les yeux is plural, so noir has an S on the end. Vert, green eyes, has an S on the end. Bleu has an S on the end. But marron, noisette, and gris do not have any extra S on the end. They're invariable. That's another way to describe them. So they don't have to agree with the noun that they're describing. And remember, in French, adjectives and nouns have to agree in number and gender, but these are some exceptions to that. I could also describe my hair. I could say, j'ai les cheveux courts, short. J'ai les cheveux mi-longs, like medium length hair. J'ai les cheveux longs et noirs, so I have long black hair. J'ai les cheveux bruns, brown hair. Châtain, which would be like chestnut color. Auburn or auburn, which would be kind of reddish brown. Blond, of course, is blonde. Gris, gray. Blanc, white. Or finally, roux for a redhead. Oh, in my own case, I would say j'ai les cheveux bruns or j'ai les cheveux châtains, somewhere in that range. Okay, so to finish up this video, I'm going to give you a chance to describe yourself. So you'll see kind of a little interactive question that pops up here in just a moment, and it's going to ask you, et vous, comment êtes-vous? And I want you to tell me, j'ai les yeux noirs, or j'ai les yeux noisettes, j'ai les yeux bleus. You choose from one of those descriptions in that list. You can also tell me what your hair color is like. J'ai les cheveux courts, j'ai les cheveux bruns, j'ai les cheveux blonds. You can tell me which one applies to you. That way you get to practice a little bit of communication, a little bit of pronunciation at the same time. So I look forward to hearing your responses. Bonsoir!